politics.
Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Glenn Mills. It is time to go inside Utah politics. We do begin today with State Senator and business owner Derek Kitchen. Senator, great to have you on the show. Thanks for being here.
Hey, Glenn. Great to be here.
Okay, today we're actually leaning more on your business owner hat, so keep that in mind as we go through here. You own Lizzie's Kitchen in Salt Lake City, a local restaurant. Talk about the impact COVID and the pandemic had on you from the beginning.
Well, I appreciate the conversation, and businesses throughout the state of Utah have, been impacted negatively from COVID. In the food and beverage world, which is where I work, people right out of the gate were really concerned about going to restaurants, taking food from any stranger of any kind. So it was a really challenging time early on, and very scary, quite frankly. A lot of businesses shut down, and we were no exception. And so we spent 2 months last year closed our operations and really reassessed how to move forward. Mm-hmm. I think an important aspect of being an entrepreneur is being able to quickly step back and recalibrate and do your best to, frankly, survive in such uncertain times.
And I'd like to get your thought on this, because unfortunately some staples of our community did not survive. Shut down for good. Your thoughts on that?
It's heartbreaking. People spend decades, years building their livelihood in a small business in particular. And something like COVID comes along completely unexpected, and we had no idea how it was going to change our local economy and the world at large. And so it's a scary and real challenging experience for a lot of people. Mm-hmm. And my heart goes out to all the businesses that had no choice but to close their operations during COVID. We lost a lot of gems in our community.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Some of my favorite restaurants are no more, and that is heartbreaking. Okay, so here we are, emerging from the pandemic, yet the challenges still exist. This is really what I wanted to have the crux of this conversation being, because you're still facing major challenges, one being the supply chain. Talk about that.
Well, yes, people are getting vaccinated, and business is coming back, and we made a lot of really important changes to our business during the pandemic in order to adapt and survive. Moving to takeout and delivery, really focusing on reaching a new level of efficiency in our restaurant, and doing what we can to keep our employees in the labor force. Mm-hmm. And making a paycheck. As we get back to reality and things are going back to some sense of normal operations, we are having a hard time hiring people for kitchen staff, front of house. I hear about this in all kinds of industry. A lot of customer service facing businesses are having a hard time finding people to work, and our restaurant is no exception. Mm-hmm. One way that we've been able to get around that has been to focus on not only the culture at our restaurant and how we treat our employees. We really want to create a sense of family and support, but also the compensation and figuring out how to make it viable to increase salaries, quite frankly, for our staffing. We see our employees as a huge asset to our operation. We couldn't do what we do without them. And so, looking at our employees as that asset and investing in them. And we've found that it takes time to source the right people for your team, but if you can really step forward and be competitive as a business owner, there's a lot of really great people out there looking for work with meaning.
Okay, let's dig into that a little bit more. I've seen places that have had to close down for the day, maybe 2 days, because they don't have the employees they need. Like right now, are you fully staffed? Or are you making good without being fully staffed?
It's in the food and beverage world, we see a lot of turnover generally. Mm-hmm. Right now, we are still searching for kitchen staff, back of house, honestly. It's hard to find people. I have friends that work in the construction, and that industry is facing a hard, labor shortage right now. A lot of folks are, looking for new jobs and are being offered competitive pay. And so that's perhaps a good silver lining here, is that salaries and wages are going up. It's needed to happen for some time. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we have a new circumstance in front of us in a post-COVID world, and so we've had to adapt, and we have a lot of work to do still, but I think we're moving in the right direction.
When you talk about having to be more competitive, obviously you mentioned the things that need to happen in order for that to happen. A good culture, a good culture for a working environment, increased wages. What impact will that ultimately have on prices at your business?
Well, our employees are happy when they have health insurance and when they can afford to put gas in the car and when they show up to work in a place where they're supported and they're thriving and they have good support from management. And so, focusing on that culture, but also really focusing on stepping into our role as business owners and entrepreneurs and making sure that people our number one asset, that people are taken care of. And so yeah, it's certainly a little bit more expensive. We're seeing food prices go up a little bit. There's a lot of work that we need to do to bring our supply chain closer to the state of Utah, continue to buy local and source things where we can. But we have an economy that is built around this just-in-time sort of supply chain model, and that's certainly under significant change right now.
Yeah, honestly, that's been one of the biggest surprises to me that has come from this pandemic, or lessons learned, is just how vulnerable the supply chain is. Are you able to get all the products that you need to successfully run your business right now?
Well, we're a restaurant, and so we have the opportunity to change our recipe a little bit. If we're having a hard time sourcing a certain vegetable, then as a Middle Eastern restaurant, we're very creative. We use a lot of fresh ingredients, and so we do make changes as necessary. But yeah, it's been a challenge. These are growing pains, and we're doing what we can to stay on top of it. But it's definitely forced us and many business owners that I engage with on a regular basis. It's forced a lot of us to be more nimble and be more flexible and really do what we can to take business day to day. As we look forward, I'm anticipating more growth, yet also more perhaps uncertainty. And so we just have to take it day by day, week by week, year by year, and that's where we're at right now.
What are you seeing from the community, the response from the community? A lot of people coming out, ready to go, get back to restaurants again?
Yeah, and I think that there's a concern because there's been a lack of, I think, clarity in some of the COVID protocols at restaurants, and so we're really trying to learn from other restaurants and other folks in the industry, and I see them reaching out to us to learn and see how we're doing our business going forward. And so, there's just a lot of, I think, opportunity. People are hungry to get out and go to restaurants and to re-engage with their community. Salt Lake City is booming. There's a lot of growth happening, for better or worse, especially when we're talking about water and other resources. But we have a lot of opportunity, as entrepreneurs and business owners, to really adapt and meet the demands of a growing consumer base here in Salt Lake City and, of course, along the Wasatch Front.
I'd like to talk to you about your confidence level. You and other business owners have been through so much in the last year and a half. How are you feeling about the prospects moving from this point forward?
Well, I'm feeling optimistic, and that's part of a personality flaw or a trait, but it's something that we have to do in this industry because we have a lot of people relying on us, and so we're really trying to keep our head up and look forward. We're, like I said, really trying to manage our finances well, make sure that we're treating our employees as assets and investing in them, making sure that they're healthy and happy and a part of the team, giving them a stake in the game, so to speak. And so it's calling on us as a community to adapt and change and meet the demands and the needs of a 21st century community. Quality of life is key to everything that we do, especially as we grow again. Growth is an ongoing concern, but there's real opportunity, and I look forward to engaging in that opportunity with the community. It's opportunity to come together as a group, as a community around shared values and our shared interests, and develop good neighborhoods and safe streets. So there's real opportunity, and I look forward to taking advantage of that.
All right. I have not been to Lazie's Kitchen yet. I promise to change that, and I've heard great things about it. And really important conversation. Appreciate getting your insights from those on the front lines. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Glenn.
Still to come, fireworks bans and the battle between state and municipal